You are at the checkout, and the card reader is waiting. Your eyes go to the total before they go to anything else. There is a small pause almost nobody talks about. The quiet math of what is actually in the account right now. So you slide one item back onto the counter. Not because you did not want it, because there is no room behind the number. That pause is not a personality flaw. It is a position on a map that nobody ever handed you. This is that map. Every level of net worth, from $0 to $1 million, and what actually changes at each one. Not a promise that you will climb it. A map, so you know which rung you are standing on and what the data associates with moving up. Quick honesty before we start. Net worth is just one number. Everything you own minus everything you owe. That is the whole definition. And feeling behind is not a character flaw. It is what happens when nobody shows you the ladder, and you assume everyone else got the instructions. Here is the reframe that matters. The villain in this story is never you. It is a system that teaches almost nobody how any of this works. So picture a ladder. 5 rungs, from the bottom of the hole all the way up to $1 million. Each rung changes one thing. What $1 can do for you, and how much of the work you still have to do by hand. I am your guide up it, and every number you see will show its source on screen, because your trust is the only thing this channel runs on. Hold one question the whole way up. Which single rung is the hardest, and why? Keep it in your back pocket. We answer it near the top. One more note. Anyone you see on screen is a stand-in for you, not a real person, and nothing here is individual financial advice. This is education only. Rung 1, the bottom. Let us start where a lot of people quietly are, and let us start without shame. You open the banking app and it does not say a big number. It says something near 0, and sometimes it says less than 0. Here is the number that reframes it. In the bottom quarter of U.S. households, the average net worth is negative, about minus $5,300. Roughly 1 in 10 households sit at 0 or below. If that is you tonight, you are not an outlier. You are on a very crowded rung. And the pressure is real, not imagined. About 37% of adults could not cleanly cover a surprise $400 expense, and 13% could not cover it at all. The feeling on this rung has a name. No buffer. Every small surprise lands as a full-size emergency, because there is nothing underneath you. Now the part that keeps people stuck here, and it is mechanical, not moral. On this rung, most people carry a balance on a credit card. The average card charges about a 20.94% APR and around 22.15% on balances that carry. APR just means the yearly interest rate on what you owe. At roughly 21%, that debt grows on its own, every month, whether you touch it or not. Here is the quiet truth of this rung. Compounding is not only a wealth tool. On a credit card, it runs in reverse, and it runs against you. So the honest move up is not invest. Not yet. It is to stop the reverse compounding first. Every dollar aimed at a 21% balance is a dollar that stops working against you. That is the mirror image of investing, and on this rung it is the highest value move the data points to. Because you cannot climb a ladder while something is quietly sawing at the bottom rung. First, you stop the saw. Next rung is small in dollars and huge in feeling. It is the one that lets you breathe. Rung 2. You are at 0, clear of the reverse compounding, and you set aside your first real cushion. The target here is modest on purpose. $1,000. Not a fortune. A shock absorber. Watch what that single thousand does. It turns a surprise $400 car repair from a crisis into an annoyance. Same event. Same $400. Completely different night, because now there is something underneath you when the floor drops. The feeling on this rung also has a name. Buffer is the ability to breathe. That is the entire unlock. And here is a number that surprises almost everyone. The U.S. personal saving rate is about 3%. That means for every dollar of after-tax income the country brings home, only about 3 cents get kept, on average. So the move up on this rung is not to save a giant lump. It is to build a rate. A small automatic transfer, on payday, before you can spend it. The engine that fills this rung is the rate, not the balance. This is a good place to say the honest thing. If this map is helping you place yourself, subscribing is how the next one finds you. We are only on rung 2. Because rung 3 is where something new appears that you have not had in a long time. Choices. Rung 3. Your buffer grows from 1,000 toward 10,000, and the whole feeling of money starts to shift. Here is where behind gets interesting. For households under 35, the median net worth is about $39,000. Median means the middle. Half are above it, half below. So this early climb, the first several thousand, is exactly where a huge share of people actually are. Sit with that. Behind is a comparison to a distribution nobody ever showed you. Against the real middle, this rung is the crowd, not the failure. The feeling here has a name too. Options appear. A flat tire stops being an emergency and becomes a Tuesday. And the move up gains a second gear. You keep the savings rate going and you start capturing money that is offered for free. If your job offers to match retirement contributions, that match is money attached to your own paycheck that you can choose to leave on the table or not. Clean employer match stat before publish. This is an association the data notes, not a directive. To be clear, that is a general pattern, not a do this for your specific situation. You decide what fits your life. Here is a fact that reframes the whole climb so far. From 2019 to 2022, median household net worth jumped about 37%, the largest increase on record. Movement up these rungs is not rare or magical. It happens to ordinary households, at scale, in ordinary years. Now brace a little. The next rung is longer than the three you just climbed combined. This is the one you asked about. Rung 4. 10,000 to 100,000. Remember the question you have been holding? Which rung is the hardest? This is a strong candidate, and here is the honest reason why, in plain mechanics. On this stretch, almost all of the growth still comes from you. From what you add by hand, month after month. Compounding is real, but at these amounts, it is nearly invisible. A few percent on $20,000 is a number you can barely feel yet. So this rung is long, it is quiet, and it gives almost no applause. That is exactly why so many people stall on it. There is even a well-worn saying about the first $100,000 being the hardest 100 you will ever build, because the account is not yet pulling its own weight. But somewhere on this rung, something changes. People describe a specific moment. It is the compounding click. The first month your account grows by more than you put in, because the money itself finally started earning. Before the click, you push the money uphill. After the click, the hill starts helping. Same you, different physics. Let us make that concrete with real math, and I will state every assumption out loud so nothing is hidden. Assumptions on screen: a starting balance, a fixed monthly contribution, a hypothetical average annual return, and a set number of years. Run through the SEC's free compound interest calculator. For the return, we will use a long-run U.S. stock market average of about 10% a year nominal. Say this part with me, out loud. That 10% is a historical average and a hypothetical here, not a prediction and not a promise. Past performance does not predict the future, and markets can and do lose value. As an illustration only, contributing a few $100s a month at that hypothetical rate is how a $10,000 balance has historically compounded towards six figures over many years. The dollars here are illustrative, not a target for you and not a forecast. The point is the shape. Consistency plus time is what does the heavy lifting on this rung. Now, one association the data is loud about, and it is only an association, not a suggestion. Homeowners have a median net worth of about $396,200. Renters, about $2,400. That gap is large, and a big part of it is simply forced, boring consistency. A mortgage quietly stores money each month. It is not permission and not advice. It is a pattern worth understanding. So the move up on this rung is patience. You let the boring machine run past the click, without turning it off when it feels slow. Get past this rung, and the ladder itself starts to change shape. The steps get wider, and they start doing your climbing for you. Rung 5. 100,000 toward $1 million. And here the ladder stops being evenly spaced. Look at how the distances stretch. From the 25th to the 50th percentile of net worth is a gap of roughly $165,000. But from the 90th to the 95th percentile is a gap of about $1.86 million. So the rungs are not a straight staircase. Near the top, each step covers vastly more ground than the steps near the bottom. And here is the strange part. Those top steps often take less effort per step, not more. The feeling on this rung has a name: the invisible threshold. Past a certain point, your assets add more in a year than your paycheck does. That is the quiet inversion the whole ladder was climbing toward. The money starts doing the work you used to do by hand. Now back to your question, answered honestly. The hardest rung is not this one. It is rung 4, 10,000 to 100,000. Because rung 4 is the one where you do almost all the lifting and compounding, gives you almost nothing back yet. It is the long, unglamorous middle. Rung 5 is wider in dollars, but lighter in effort, because by now, the machine is carrying most of the weight. And the honest move here is the least dramatic one on the whole ladder. Time, consistency, and not breaking the thing that is finally working. I am stopping the map here on purpose. What tends to change is education. And you will get here would be a promise. And this channel does not make promises. So zoom all the way out and look back down the ladder you just climbed. The number was never really the point. What changed at each rung was your position and your defaults, not your worth as a person. For context, the median U.S. family net worth is about $190 to $900. A real middle exists, and it is closer than the highlight reels make it look. Now go back to that checkout and the card reader waiting for your total. The difference between the bottom rung and a higher one was never willpower. It was a buffer underneath you and a set of quiet automatic defaults working while you were not looking. You are not trying to become a different person at that register. You are building a new normal, one rung at a time. So here is the one thing to do with all of this. Do not try to climb 5 rungs tonight. Find your rung honestly, the one you are actually standing on, and take the single move for that level. Only that one. On the bottom rung, it is stopping the reverse compounding. On the buffer rung, it is a rate, not a lump. On rung 4, it is patience past the click. If this map gave you a place to stand, subscribe so the next rung finds you before you need it. And if rung 4 is where you are, the long hard middle, watch this next. The first $8,000 is the hardest. It is the honest breakdown of exactly that climb. One rung at a time. That is the whole map. I will see you on the next one.